Berkshire Hathaway Home Services sales executives for our video message of the week. All right, this week's message is entitled Believe It or Not. And let me begin by asking a question. Have you ever been presented an idea or a concept that you really do not buy into? The question is what is your reaction? That's what we're going to talk about today. And I want to share with you the do's and don'ts around this concept. All right, so let's look at what's happening here. You've just been presented an idea or concept that you do not buy into. The don'ts. Do you immediately dismiss the idea and stop listening? So as someone is talking or a group may be presenting to you, you immediately dismissed it. You've stopped thinking, you've stopped listening to what they're saying. 2, does your brain start justifying why it's a bad idea and won't work? So not only are you not listening, but now you're justifying internally in your brain, okay, why this is a bad idea. And thirdly, and most importantly, do you go into doesn't work for me mode? So even if the idea can work for others, you know what, my business is different, it simply won't work for me. Well, that type of thinking, I promise you, will not serve you well. So what should you do? In a situation like this, how should you handle a situation where you honestly do not buy into the presentation you're listening to? Well, there's some simple rules of thumb that I want you to follow. Rule 1, you've got to take right or wrong off the table. Don't worry about being right or wrong. In fact, whichever other one you choose, it doesn't matter. It's not going to serve you well, because as soon as you feel you're right or wrong about any concept or idea, you stop thinking. So 1, we're not going to look about right or wrong. All right. Secondly, I want you to listen intently. All right. So you don't buy in, but I want you to listen to it. Open-minded wise, listen to what they're saying. Maybe take some notes, but overall, you're not thinking about anything else but what they're saying, and you're taking notes as they do it. Next, I want you to ask insightful questions. So if it's a presentation to you directly, you can ask those questions right there. Maybe you're writing down those questions specifically to ask them later. But you're thinking about, okay, something is not making sense to me. What question can I ask to clarify that information? Now, once you've done your homework and you've gotten the answer to those questions, and let's say you still do not buy in to that scenario, a great exercise to go through is questioning your beliefs. Why do I feel this way? All right, maybe get some feedback from others who listen to the presentation potentially or knows about this certain concept or idea and say, what do you think of this? All right, have you ever utilized this? Or here's a question that I asked them. What is your opinion to this same question? Think about that. Regardless what the final outcome is, asking those questions continues you thinking and growing through that process. All right. Last but not least is I want you to tie your decision, whatever decision you make, I want you to tie it back to your desired outcomes of what you want within your business and your life. See, if you tie back the decision to the desired outcomes, regardless if it works for somebody else, it may not be the right timing for you. You've asked questions, you've questioned your beliefs, you've gone through this thought process and say, you know what, I can see how that could work. Right now though, I want this to happen in this time frame, so I'm going to hold off on this. But I've made a good conscious decision based on my personal desired outcomes. The moral of today's message is, look, we all talk about wanting to learn, but when we stop listening and stop asking insightful questions, all right, and go into a negative thought process mode, we stop learning. We all, if we're honest with ourselves, never, ever should stop learning. Asking good questions and listening opens up your mind to learn about other aspects and maybe tweak your business moving forward. Have a great week, everybody, and we'll talk to you next week. Bye-bye.